Hey guys, welcome back to the OCD Recovery channel. I'm Momin, and today my background is different because I'm not at home today. I am actually in Turkey right now. I'm traveling with my friends and some family members. So I thought the lighting was good. I had a good topic in mind, so I thought I would come here and talk about that. Because there were some interesting events leading up to planning this trip as well. So before I go on, please subscribe to our channel. Please like our video. Please say any comments. Tell me what you think about this. Let me know if you experienced this. Let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. So, what I want to talk about, as the title of the video suggests, is how we start to feel really anxious around events that we think are really important to us, or events that mean a lot to us. So, and traveling to Turkey today was something that was kind of important to me, in the sense that I do love to travel. It's not something I do very, very often. I do want to travel more in the future because I like seeing new places. I like meeting new people. But and obviously but I don't travel that much because there's like a lot of planning, and there's a lot that goes into like finally being able to do it. But yeah, so coming here was something that was kind of on my mind, and I really wanted it to happen, and I really wanted the plan to work out. And as we know that when there's something that we're looking forward to, we want our feelings, we want our emotions to be perfect around it. We want all circumstances to be perfect. We want the weather to be perfect. We want our mood. We want no intrusive thoughts. We want no intrusive feelings. We want no intrusive urges. We want no delays in flights or like taxis or whatever it is. Like, we want everything to fall into place. And anything that slightly, it's not according to how we exactly want it to be, it starts to put us off. Our mood starts to get bad, and we're like, I don't like this. I did not want this to happen. This is not perfect, and therefore this is not acceptable to me, because it's not the ideal thing. I'll give you a background, and this is not just for traveling. I mean, this is for any important event that we have in our life. I'm just applying it to myself right now in this particular moment, and I'll give you some background information as to kind of how intrusive thoughts and some intrusive urges were playing a role in this entire scenario. So, a couple of years ago, before COVID hit, I was supposed to go to Canada because I got into a great master's program that I really, really wanted to do, and I was really looking forward to it. It was kind of like my dream program at the moment, and I thought, hey, this is going to be perfect for me, and I'm really going to enjoy this. Long story short, I was not able to go because obviously there were a lot of complications during COVID. As everyone knows, everyone's life changed during those 2 years. And also my visa, my student visa got rejected a couple of times, and I wasn't able to go. At the time, that was my worst case scenario. My worst case scenario was my visa getting rejected and me not being able to go, and me being like stuck here and not doing things that I want to do, and being unhappy, and then feeling like I will never be able to get over that unhappiness. And my worst case scenario came true. I mean, it did happen. I wasn't able to go. And it did make me sad, obviously, that I wasn't able to go. It really, I really wasn't too happy about it. I mean, that's an understatement, because again, I mean, there was so much I was looking forward to, and I just really, really wanted to go and do this program. I thought it would be great for my career as well, and everything. It was exactly to my interests, and so. But when it happened, I was still suffering from OCD. Really, I mean, I was quite better, much better in fact, but I was still doing a lot of compulsions around contamination OCD and stuff like that, and also a lot of magical thinking was overlapping with contamination OCD as well. So, but what I did eventually was, I thought, I don't, what's the next best alternative? What can I do with the situation? What can I do with my time? Because I don't want to, obviously feeling sorry for myself for an extended period of time and not doing anything and adapting to the situation was not going to do me any good. So I had to improvise, or I had to think of something that could, result in some steps moving forward and not me completely wasting my time as well. So I enrolled in a program over here in Lahore where I live, and not here. I mean, I'm not in Lahore, but like in Lahore, back home. I enrolled in a program there, and I thought, you know what, I'll do this for 2 years, and because what's the point in not doing anything then? Because if I become so hyper focused on just one goal and I keep trying and trying and trying and just like, no, this must happen, this has to happen, um, it would have, I know it would have not just catastrophized my thinking more and more and made me even more frustrated, but also just not it wouldn't have gotten me anywhere ahead in life in that sense. By the end of the 2 years of the program that I eventually did, in fact, not by the end of it, even in the middle of it, I eventually was at not just at peace, but I was also then happy with my decision. I thought I made a good choice. I thought it in many ways also had a lot of pros of being able to do a program at home, because I didn't have to worry about like COVID or doing any other house chores or cooking food or doing any of those things during a pandemic while studying as well. So that was a big plus of studying at home. So there are pros and cons to each and every situation. Even our most ideal situation that we think, our most perfect situation that we think, that even also has cons if you really sit down to sometimes think about it, and not be so obsessive about all the perfection of it. There are always cons to every situation, and there are pros and cons to every situation in that sense. So, so I was happy about that. So now, when I was making plans to travel to Turkey and applying for a visa for this, it was nerve wracking in some ways, and I could sense magical thinking trying to come in again, because it was a similar situation to because it was applying for a visa again. So it was the similarity of the situation was kind of bringing up similar responses. They were very. It's kind of like Jade also talks about in her videos, that when you are recovered and when you are used to thinking more rationally, it kind of becomes second nature in a way. It starts to become second nature in a way. So I think in this situation as well, I was the intrusive thoughts and the urges to do certain compulsions around magical thinking, and even urges to do some compulsions around contamination OCD weren't that strong. They were quite muted. It was like a dead memory, kind of, just being present there in the background a little bit. That memory response in my body and in my brain, that was kind of happening in a way. So I was very aware of what was happening, and I stayed on top of that. I was like, no, this is just this muted memory response that's coming up. And like Jade said in the video chat that we had together a couple of weeks ago, where she said that she realizes that she doesn't suffer from OCD, but she still has an OCD brain. So I mean, at times it will try to wake up again sometimes. But again, when you are recovered and when you are used to thinking more rationally, and when you have this greater level of unconditional acceptance of yourself, life, and other people, you are able to you're able to stay on top of these urges or intrusive thoughts if they come up sometimes again. So that's the definition of recovery, that it's absence of chronic guilt and chronic anxiety, and intrusive thoughts lose their intrusiveness, or intrusive urges or whatever they are, they lose their intrusiveness. They don't interfere with your day that way. So I could sense that was happening, but I was still able to continue with the entire process of going through this visa procedure quite rationally and calmly. And also, I think acceptance of your worst case scenario, because the worst case scenario also changes from situation to situation, from moment to moment as well. So again, in this case, it was, oh, what if my visa gets rejected and then I won't be able to go again and travel, right? So that was the momentary worst case scenario in that sense. Um, and it honestly did not, I mean, it felt really, it in my head, if I thought about it, it sucked for sure. But it did not have that kind of hold over me where I thought it would just, be the end of my happy living. It would be the end of my happiness. I won't be happy ever again or find happiness ever again. In my head, I was very accepting of that momentary worst case scenario, that if this happens, I was thinking of, okay, this is the alternative that I can do. This is my next best option. This is how, if my visa gets rejected because of maybe this particular reason, this is how I can change that for future visa applications that I can make. So it's a hindrance, it's a bump in the road, it's an obstacle, but you have to keep up with that persistence of coming up with adaptive ways of dealing with those obstacles and with those hindrances that come to you in your way. And that's true for like not just life at large, but also like recovery as well. Because if let's say if you have been having like a really good period and you do a compulsion or ask for reassurance, or you do something that's kind of like not in favor of your recovery journey, you still have to get up and work on recovery. And because, I mean, what's the other alternative? It's that you feel really terrible and sorry for yourself, and which is understandable. I mean, that can happen for like a while, sure. I mean, I've done that plenty of times myself. However, you have to eventually get up back on the horse and work on recovery, because persistence is that thing that kills the strong hold that OCD has over you, that fear has over you, that anxiety has over you. Persistence is, and continuing to work on towards your goals and continuing to work towards a life that you want to live. That's something that really, persistence is key over here. Persistence, patience, self-compassion, and acceptance of yourself as a person, regardless of whether you are able to achieve or not achieve what you want to, or regardless of however life turns out, you still have that acceptance, but you're still working towards that goal that you have in your mind. And I think one other important thing that I really want to bring up here is that with this, with OCD, we have this fear of being permanently stuck in anxiety, or having permanently the sensation or this feeling of feeling sad and miserable and regretful and guilty and shameful and embarrassed about something, and not being able to get over that ever again, or not feeling better ever again. Because you think that, oh, if even in our OCD, let's say, you think that, oh, if this relationship ends, I will have that regret for the rest of my life, forever. And so here's my anecdote and my experience over here. So when you continue to work towards your goals, when you have that persistence, when you still say that I'm still going to work around this obstacle, I'm still going to work around this hindrance that I've had in my journey, or in the on the path to my goal, eventually, like for example, I was not able to do the master's program of my dreams, supposedly, right? And that's still something that I feel sad about, that I wasn't able to do. It's not that I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, no, I wish I could have done that. But when we start to adapt and persist and see next best alternatives, other ways of doing things, other ways of having some fulfillment in our life, the sting of that sadness and regret and guilt and shame and all those negative emotions, the sting of that eventually fades away and starts to fade away. It does not remain the same. And that's something that you won't be able to believe right now. Even me saying this, it's not something you'll be able to believe. It's something that you only get to learn from experience and through changing your perspective and through, let's say, even doing exposures. Because my fear with exposures was this would be the worst sensation and I won't be able to move on from it. Similar to fear of having that sensation of having negative emotions in your body. So the sting of that eventually fades away, because as you begin to have more experiences, as you begin to have more things in your life, or more people, or more goals, or more even achievements. Even though I'm not saying that achievement should be your way of defining your happiness, but I'm just saying that as you begin to collect and gather more experiences and observations and things in your life, they start to slowly replace your old goals and desires and rigid demands. I mean, the amount of times that my personal goals and that my personal dreams and my personal, that this is what I want to do, the amount of times that has changed, I can't even tell you. Like, and I'm still in some ways directionless in my life. I mean, that's just me as a person as well. I mean, I still don't have like what you would call a solid direction. Like, my friends have like 5-year plans, even that, oh, in this amount of time I'm going to get my career to this point and I'm going to get this done and get this done. I have no idea. I'm just going along and planning as I go along in life. But that's the thing. I mean, my earlier goals and dreams that I was not able to achieve or was not able to do, and old regrets and mistakes that I've made, as I begin to progress in life and I build a better me and I build a better life, those old wounds and those stings, they start to fade away a little bit. Like I said, I mean, I still wish I could have done that program that I initially wanted to do, but it's no longer something that weighs me down, because I'm still happy and at peace with however life turned out since then. So, and that's really important to remember with wanting that perfect sensation around important events, that perfect feeling, everything to fall perfectly into place. It's really important to remember that, because we think that one moment will define the rest of our life. And we don't even realize that we are doing it every single week. So if I'm going on a date today, oh, this must go perfect because otherwise I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Then the next week it'll be like, oh, my, I don't know, proposal for my partner should go perfectly because otherwise I'll have that regret for the rest of. I mean, basically almost every week you'll have a new, this will be the worst thing of my life. Every week that changes. Every week that goal adapts. Every week you'll have something new to be highly anxious about and think that, oh my god, if this doesn't work out, then my happiness has no chance. So that's really important to keep in mind when you are going on in life and working on recovery even as well. Even if you make mistakes on recovery, the new things that you do and the new things you learn and the new challenges you overcome, it takes the sting out of those earlier mistakes that you think you made, because it was all part of learning and adapting and having more even wisdom, to be honest, like as you go along in life. So that one perfect moment that you're really wanting to happen, even if you achieve that, there will be something else then, and then there will be something else, and then there will be something else. So learning to embrace the pros and cons, the good and the bad, the positive and the negative, to coexist in one single moment. Like, even for my flight over here, it was delayed by 2 hours, and I was then up all night and just there was an extended wait at the airport, and then I was just sleeping throughout the flight, and my neck started to hurt as well. I mean, there were hurdles for me to. It did not go as perfectly and smoothly as I wanted, but that's okay with me. I mean, I'm fine with it. It's not something that is making me think that, okay, you know what, this is the first day of my trip and it's completely ruined already. It started on a bad note. That means the rest of it will be bad as well. And if the rest of the things don't go according to plan, I will lose my mind. No, I mean, life is too short to be that upset about, you know, perfect moments to not go your way. There's a lot more to life than wanting a specific moment, situation, occasion, day to go extremely perfectly. So yeah, that was my little speech, and that was my little experience of, like, of traveling and just being anxious about like certain things that you really really want and certain dreams that you really want. I hope it helps, and I actually have to head out now, but if I might do a part two of this if you guys want, or if you guys want to hear more about this, I'll be happy to do something, and I'll see you guys soon. Have a great rest of the week, and maybe I'll make another video on this trip as well, just to talk about another topic as well. Bye.